Hello and welcome to Sega News Bits Extra. This is one of those times of year where we talk about our best Sega game of the year. And I forgot to introduce Barry, so here's Barry.
Howdy!
Sorry about that, Barry. I almost forgot about you.
That's okay.
And if you guys like these kind of episodes, you guys can support us on Patreon. For $1, you can keep us nice and talkative in these kind of episodes. So we like to talk about our favorite thing, and this is personal, and I know a lot of people on the internet don't like these kind of episodes because they have to we have to agree with them, right? 100%.
Right.
Like if they liked Sonic Mania Plus, that's it. That's the game of the year. You can't disagree with them. And there's so many good Sega games this year. I think Sega had one of their best, I guess, by Metacritic years in a while. I mean, these last 3 years have been basically pretty good games coming out. I mean, the worst game that came out this year probably, well, look at our other episode so you can see that, but this is all positive.
Nice.
All positive.
Nice.
So what was your favorite game this year?
My favorite game. Well, let me talk about some of the runners-ups. So I think Yakuza and the Yakuza team, like the studio as a whole, had a fantastic year. If Yakuza 0 released this year, I would have picked it. Because
it's on
PC. So I would say that's a runner-up if we're talking, I guess, PC release. I think 6 and Kiwami 2, which both released this year, are great games, but I don't think I've played them enough. Because, you know, if you're a new Yakuza fan like I am, these are being piled on, and it's hard to keep up. Like, there's 4 games I need to play, and I'm only like 2 in. So
yeah,
I don't think it's fair to pick something that I haven't finished. So I gotta be honest, Fortnite is the best Sega game.
Fortnite?
No, I'm gonna say it. Okay, Sonic Mania Plus is my favorite Sega game of 2018, and I know it's a re-release, but I feel like they did so much to make a game that I said was an A+ release basically better than an A+, which I didn't think was possible.
A++.
And that Mania mode is, like, when I first started, I was like, oh, it's like a little different. It changes the way that you think about playing the game. And if you read or watch my review, I talk about, that I think of it as like a bench system where there's characters off to the side and you're like, I am not losing Mighty. I'm going to switch over to Sonic. If Sonic dies, at least I got Mighty, and then, Ray's next on the bench. And I just think that's such a cool new way to play, and I think they put so much extra effort into the game that I can't play the original Sonic Mania anymore. I gotta play my Plus.
And I thought that the whole thing they did with the marketing, the episodes on YouTube, the retail packaging, the inclusion of Mighty and Ray, that was all perfectly done. I thought the team really grasped onto something where, like, even in social media, everybody was just doing fan art. It was kind of crazy. Like, everything was in harmony.
Yeah.
And so I consider that's a really good re-release. It's probably one of the best re-releases with hype behind it that I've seen Sega do, marketing-wise. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of funny that a lot of people at the time were kind of negative about it because there wasn't brand new stages.
Right.
Brand new. They wanted a bunch of new things, right? This is more remixed with 2 new characters. Do you think, and now when you played it so much, that it's worth the price of entry?
Absolutely. I think.
And what do you say? What do you say to those people that say this should have been in the game to begin with?
On one hand, I agree with them. On the other hand, I don't think the intent was to hold off. I think they thought the game was done, and then they were given that chance to add the extra content that they wanted and give it the physical release. So I think the original hype around the game is what helped it.
And are you surprised how, like, positive, like, Mighty and Ray were basically accepted online? I didn't hear too many haters online, which is very, very surprising.
No, not at all. I think it's about time that they stop making, like I've said, these silly rules where it's like, we will not put this character in that game, or this character's never coming back. Like, don't do that nonsense. Like, give us Mighty and Ray, give us Fang. And to be honest, Sonic Mania Plus has, I think, nearly every classic character in it in some form, either as like a boss or a cameo. I'm trying to think of a classic character that's not in it, but I think they're all in it,
And
which is really cool.
yeah, and I love that they did this team. It's almost like anything could happen. So
Yeah.
that always makes the games more exciting when you see news of characters like that. So
Absolutely.
I'm going to tell you my game of the year. I thought
Do it.
about this, right? There's a lot of good games that came out this year. I had to choose Yakuza 6. And a lot of people, before it came out, were telling me it's short, there's not that much content. It's kind of disappointing compared to 0. And so I kind of went in there with low expectations, saying, oh, it's going to be bare boned. And I was playing it, putting hours and hours into it, and I'm like, this thing is deep. Like, it's way too deep for all the, like, I just love the Dragon Engine. I love the way it feels. I love the physics of it. I think it's hilarious when you fight people in stores and crazy things you could pull off in that game. They did a really good job. And I think the studio as a whole has basically had a renaissance because, like, they released so much content this year. It's ridiculous. They did Fist of the North Star in the West, Yakuza Kiwami 2 here, Yakuza 6. Then they did those 2 PC ports. Yakuza Online on mobile. They did Project Judge Eyes already came out in Japan. Then they did Yakuza 3 port. That's already like 8 titles. I'm almost getting to 10. And I'm pretty sure I forgot some. And people in the comments are going to be like, actually, George, you forgot this title that came out on the Tiger system, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
So they're just releasing these things crazy. And like each game is getting really high scores. And Yakuza team is doing something. They're basically a fucking factory of Yakuza games. Like, they just pump these things out like nothing. And
Yeah.
they get high marks. They're well-made games. They give a lot of people enjoyment. That introduce really nice characters, have really well-written characters. And, yeah, it's keeping people's attention. And something that I hope Sega could fix with Sonic Team in the future. Because, like we said, Sonic Mania is great. But Sonic Team seems to want to, like, put these restrictions on themselves, you know, on their franchises, and hope they let loose a little bit and they get inspired by what Sonic Mania Plus has done and something like the Yakuza studios have been doing.
Absolutely.
And let us know in the comments below what your favorite Sega game of 2018 was. We told you ours. You can tell us why we're idiots in the comments. We love reading those kind of comments, guys. Please continue.
Call
Happy
us
holidays.
idiots.